Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sankhaya. Good morning to all of you on the east side of the world. Good afternoon to the evening to all of you here in the United States. I'm here at the monastery, and today I wanted to let you all know what's going on with the Vietnam trip coming up on November 9th. I think everyone's been waiting about that. All of you, for some of you, or most of you who took the survey on the link tree, which I will post after this video. And based on that survey, we narrowed it down to Vietnam, which is something that I'm super excited about. And so Trova Trips got it down to a science about how many people were interested, what is their budget, and how it's gonna go. So they have a whole itinerary for us to do in Vietnam, November 9th, and it stretches 1 week. 9th to the 15th. So 1 week that Trova trip covers. However, this is my first trip, right? I'm still a young monk, and I am still getting used to all of the Trova trip and all the details surrounding it. So at the current time, it's $2,500, and that does not cover your plane ticket. So you have to coordinate your own plane ticket. That's why we're having this talk today. So as you all make the payment, it's 3 months before we go. That means in August, everyone has to make their payment, that $2,500. And then, so you have 5 months to save up. Well, 5 months, to save up and then make the payment to Trova trip. The plane ticket, everyone can look it up on Expedia or Orbitz, or, however that works. We're having this talk because I'm going to be in Vietnam for at least a month, right? Beginning November 9th, maybe a little bit sooner. I'll be there probably sooner. And on November 9th, I'll be waiting for all of you to come down the airport and the hotel. And then we're going to go the Halong Bay and all of the places as beautifully described on the Trova Trip website. When you click on the link tree and you go to Vietnam with me, on the very top, all you gotta do is click it. After the Trova Trip thing in 1 week, I liked all of you, if the resources allow you to, that means from now until then, everyone has to save up at least $4,000. And if you're comfortable, you make more money, then $5,000. Typically, when you want to travel overseas, you want to have $5,000 on you anyways, just for emergencies, just for medical and all of that. So I'm going to be there for at least a month because I need that. I haven't been out of the country for like 7 years. So what are we going to do between that time? Those who want to stay a little bit longer, okay, at least another week, that makes 2 weeks total, from November 9th and then all the way to the 15th, and after the 15th, another week with me. I've already got everything planned out, which is coming back to Nha Trang City. So this is my itinerary for all of you, my personal itinerary in traveling with Chi Dao. We're going to visit my hometown, which is along beautiful beach of Nha Trang. Nha Trang is spelled N-H-A space T-R-A-N-G. You guys are pretty amused looking at me. So if you want to go on your phone and put Nha Trang City, Vietnam, and look at it yourself. All my students are sitting in front of me. N-H-A space Trang, T-R-A-N-G. Just for fun, just for all you can take a look at it. So this is where I grew up and immigrated to America in 1995. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I should have never left. You see it? Oh, you're seeing it, right? All right, so y'all gonna have to put it in your phones right now to see Nha Trang City. So all of the monasteries there, like I know that on the back of my head where everything is, and things have changed a lot for the better. A lot of countries have invested in Nha Trang City tourism, and most importantly, I think everyone is curious as how I got my path started, or the beginning of my path as a monk. When I trained with Venerable Tong who belong to the Mahayana tradition. In my previous talks, I have said and credited the Mahayana world for extending their arms like this to any and all people who wants to come into Buddhism, and they will carry you as long as it takes. And that's how I felt when I was in Vietnam, which was, I was a very lost young man after my breakup with Christina. I remember I was so lost, and the only thing I had to preserve evidence of his teachings was in a little camcorder, the one that still had the DVR or DVD, whatever that thing is in there, that little disc in there. And, Venerable Tong was very loving, kind, compassionate. He's still alive this day. He's waiting to meet all of you. There's something about the monastery, there's something about the atmosphere being there. And his monastery locates in the city on top of a mountain. It's weird. It's like, what? It's a city, but then you have these mountains in the city and you can just go up there. Ride a motorcycle up there. I remember, it's this spin right here too, Dominic. It's like this spin till you get to the monastery, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Yeah, talk about death meditation. Yeah, if you don't practice death meditation, you will soon. But it was really cool. And then there's a train track, right? And then once you get up to the monastery, you look down at the city, nothing matters anymore. The ocean is right there. I mean, it's like, remember Spinners? Spinner? You guys went to Spinners down at St. Pete Beach?
Yeah.
It's like you get all the way up to Spinners and you look down and everything is Legoland. But you felt so safe and secure. Even though you're in the city, you feel like you're in the forest up there in the mountain. I think everyone who's watching can feel the energy of the excitement that awaits for me and awaits for you, because I need to go back and really pay my respect. How grateful I am. Back in the day when he opened up his doors to me. Oh, we're getting a little emotional, huh? Had he not took me in at the monastery, I would have been dead or in prison, simply put. And it was the very first thing that I learned about attachment in love. And when you fall out of love, or you thought it was going to last and everything else, how it could destroy you. I mean, the destructive path of it. It is exactly what the Buddha identified when he was the Buddha. When he had a wife and a son, Rahula, and every teachings he left us teaches us not to be attached. So, when I just sit back and I reflect on my journey as and how I survived it as a young man, and what I learned so profoundly along the way, it just brings back tears of joy, truly. And I'm constantly reflecting how to be that teacher, the best teacher, to open my hands up wide open to accept all of you, any and all, come as you are. Come as you are, and we will meet you where you're at. Obviously, he was a very skilled man, because, I think all of us can reflect that how other people give up on us quickly, not giving us the attention that is needed to nurture and to guide us in life, especially to guide us on the spiritual life. So, I want you guys to meet Venerable Tong. I want you guys to see the monastery where I first started everything. And of course, me walking in, right? And we're talking, we're discussing about the Four Noble Truths. And then I keep on getting he actually kept on getting these calls on his cell phone, this little flip phone. And I'm like, why are you getting calls at night at like 11? What's going on? Well, there were deaths around the nearby villages. So he says, you want to go? We just got a death. And I'm like, what? What do you mean there's deaths? So people pass away, right? It's old age. It's the true nature of being human. And I remember his room was so small. So small. And I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, what? You live in this room? And along the wall are his robes. He has two color. One all yellow like this, and the other one dark brown. He grabbed him and shoved him in his bag. Kind of looked like this. And he says, you want to go, kid? Let's go. And I would wear that uniform that you guys wore. Yeah. And So my first training actually was death meditation, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go, and I'm all excited, right? Death, like, that doesn't scare me. I was like 15 years old, you know. What do you know? Oh, dead body. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. Yeah. Okay. We get there. We inch closer and closer to the home, and ta-da! It ain't like in America, I tell you that. So yeah, I was scared deathless, you know, and seeing all of that unfold, and I trust him. And the Mahayanan world is very beautiful when it comes to funerals. Like when they bless the body and how he wrote in Chinese as he's blessing the body with the flower as he's holding it. It's beautiful the way how he conducts funerals and the way how the Mahayana world conducts funerals. The first time I ever was aware of mudras and how peaceful those mudras were to people who have survived the deceased, survivals of the deceased. So, so I got passed by, I mean, you know, I guess along the way, I mean, I guess if I was to write the manual on how to train newbies, well, the first one is not to introduce them to death. Right? But the fact, so that's why I said in Buddhism, you have to go through the pain. You have to meet it head on. Anything that scares the hell out of you, exposure therapy. Meet it head on, go through with it. And once you get past some of the hardest trainings, you're limitless. No more fear. No longer fear-based. So that was pretty cool. And then we're going to go to the white Buddha statue, which is the statue is so big. Did you not see how big that's that?
And pictures don't do justice.
Right. Until you're there and you're like, I think you're just speechless one time you get there. And the pictures to tell about it. Obviously, the picture that I had is located in a different drive, so I will post all of that. As the time nears, I'm going to get everybody all pumped up about Vietnam and the scenery that's there. And what is that one island that you have? What is those cables? The box and the cable in it?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, from this side of town to like 5 miles of ocean, and you get to another island that is literally nirvana. Talk about, it makes Disney World look like a joke when you get there. Yeah, talk about fun. And not a lot of money. You don't have to spend a lot of money because you're with me. So the currency and all of that, I mean, I just want everyone to just experience a trip of a lifetime. It's no wonder why I came back to Vietnam 13 times. And I've been to Cambodia, I've been to Australia, I've been to Thailand. I've always found my way back to Vietnam because of how chill it is. And, you know, we just need a break from life. A break from life. So, again, all of you can reach out and ask questions. And if you're, you know, just now joining, you may have to go back to this. But visiting Nha Trang City, the beaches, the seafood, the monasteries, and hopefully you guys can come back to my grandma's old place and actually see where I live. I mean, all of you were quite inspired how I got to where I am today and where did I live, where did I grow up, on what street did I grow up, and stuff like that. And all of that is open to all of you to examine and see. You know, a lot of us, I think, study great people in our lives, and, you know, we go back to, you know, certain antique homes and of great people, Elvis Presley and stuff like that. I hope that I would strike you all as a good, awesome monk. And as I'm alive, giving you all this tour, you all get to see joy, happiness, but also the struggles and life, how we all have to deal with it, how we all will deal with it skillfully, learning the skills necessary. And of course, you take everything that you've learned in those 2 weeks, or if you're fortunate enough to stay a month, you know, you stay a month and you study, practice, meditate, study, practice, meditate. And you take that back to the States with you, or wherever you are in the world, and you reflect on it, and you continue practicing until you have perfected the threefold training. So, you know, again, so there's a lot of people out there that think that, oh, it's too much money, or I don't want to travel, I'm content here, I'm comfortable here in life. And that's the problem, right? So people get too comfortable. You learn nothing being comfortable. Absolutely nothing. You have to be brave, you have to be courageous, you have to get out, spend money on experiences, not material things. When you look at the material things in your life, ask yourself how much joy that actually brought you. Dominic, how much joy has the Audi brought you until you got bored of it?
Decent amount.
Decent. Young, fast, so you get to enjoy it a little bit longer than most people. But we were designed to get bored of things. Get bored of things and get bored of people and things and places and stuff like that. But I can tell you all, and everyone can agree, that subsequently you will become older, right? And you're going to be limited as you get older. And the only thing you have to reflect on is the memories that you have accumulated over time. Not how many Audis you have, how many Mercedes you have, how many watches you have collected. All that don't really matter because there's no hearse, there's no U-Haul behind a hearse. Simply put. And we've had many people, Steve Jobs when he passed away. Steve Jobs, who made all these all these phones right here. What do you think he carried with him? Obviously not the iPhone he invented. Exactly. And so when you live a good life, when you're older, you can relive it again. And those are all of the experiences that you have collected over time with the people that you're with the time that you had, and the resources that was available to you. So this talk, what it means for you and for all is, number one, let's look at the way how we manage money carefully, wisely, and intelligently. If we're eating out too much, we got to tone it down. If we haven't learned how to cook, let's learn how to cook. And lately, my direct students who are sitting in front of me, Samuel right here, can be a master chef culinary.
Yeah, I mean, I've cooked before.
How meticulous and slow and careful he is with the craft. Because it's easy, like the lunch lady. Oh, here you go. Next. Or like prison systems, right? But he actually carefully, when he brings out a plate, you just want to take an Instagram picture and just stare at it all day and not want to touch it until it gets cold. Right? So anyways, so we have to look at the way how we manage money, because, yeah, I think we're all stuck with that, right? YOLO, which is you only live once, and saving for a rainy day. So where's the middle way in that? You got to somehow strike that balance. And the younger you are, the more you YOLO versus for another rainy day. Okay. So look, there's a whole science behind it. If you don't know how to manage money, go on YouTube, put how to manage money. There's a bunch of professors, a bunch of people who have, learned the art, mastered the art of that. The Buddha gave instructions on how to save money. I think he said 2/3 away. And, if you heed the advice of the wise, you will do just fine in life. Less anxiety, less biting your nails, less sleep. When life, money can provoke a lot of anxiety. The desire for money also provokes anxiety and exhausts oneself. So again, you got to calibrate how much is enough and know when to, all right, well, that's enough. I think I'm okay. My dad, when I asked my dad, I'm like, why don't you charge more for cases? You have 30 years of experience as the guru in immigration law. Why do you still charge $300? I don't get it. Other people charge $3,000 and sometimes $30,000. Why do you still charge $300? He said, because it is enough for me to live. And it is my middle way. I don't need it anymore and I don't want it anymore. I'm just chilling. And so I'm like, wow, that's really humble of you. And until this very day, if he dies tomorrow, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the funeral needs to be taking place at the Tropicana field with the amount of the thousands of cases that he has worked. And once the word spread like wildfires, that's how big the funeral is going to be, inside of Tropicana field. I'm confident. There's no funeral homes here big enough to house all the people that's going to be visiting him.
I don't think Tropicana Field would even be big enough.
earlier when we had lunch, you know the old lady, the 82-year-old lady recognized my face. Mind you, I'm wearing the other glass, not this one. And she says, "You used to work at the doctor's office, right?" And I said, "Yes, Dr. Lace." She's like, "Oh, I knew that was you," and da da da. That was 8 years, like that's like 10 years ago. She's 82 and she remembers my face. What? Then she stood there for a while and she thanked our office. She thanked me and the office, which is my father, who helped her when she moved from Virginia to here. I wasn't aware of that. That's my dad's case. I'm just, when I work for Dr. Lay, I'm just taking in patients. But it was so beautiful for you all to witness that because she's giving thanks. And I translated for the husband who was American, she was Vietnamese, and I'm telling him what she's telling me so he doesn't think that we're talking about him. You just imagine that. But what happened if my dad wasn't ethical or moral? They probably spit at me as a representative of the office. And mind you, this week we've ran into a lot of issues that we've seen in society where people are not ethical and not moral, not guided by a moral compass. Partnerships, not guided by principle. Partnerships, not guided by a moral compass. Lack of spirituality, lack of honesty, lack of keeping one's words. We see that every day. Now you get to experience it for yourself. You have direct experience for yourself. So anyways, but yeah, the city of Nha Trang holds so much memory of good men. And before getting the popularity, I was in Vietnam in 2013 or 15. 2013 I was in Vietnam. And 2015, I think 15 was the last one. I'm eating in my city. I'm just chilling. And someone's like, "Hey, are you Mr. Track's grandson? Professor Track Huang." And I was like, I don't think I even swallowed my food when they said that. Again, I'm like, how do you know me? How did you able to pinpoint my face to my grandfather that was a professor in the city? And I'm just shocked, just completely shocked. The legacy that my grandfather left, the legacy that my father left and is still leaving, that's just, guided by principle, guided by good mentorship, good counseling, good role models, real, authentic, experienced role models in life. So, and that's what I'm trying to do now, right? For all of you and for the rest of the world is to try to be a role model as best as I can. As our world is changing, we readjust the middle way on how we encounter humans, problems, and daily, and bills in our face, and friends. But we have one of the best tools to do it, which is the teachings of the Buddha. 84,000 teachings. 84 different types of medicine in order to deal with everyday illnesses. People lie, cheat, kill, and steal. It's an illness. It's sick. Right? Remember? We're like, you make me sick to my stomach. When people cheat, lie, kill, steal upon on us, inflict that on us, we become ill, anxious, depressed. The Buddha came along and said, "Hey, you mad, you sad? That's an illness. By the way, I'm the Buddha and I have 84,000 types of medicine for you. If you're interested, walk with me." So 2,566 years ago, that's exactly what happened. People were depressed, people were anxious, the same crap that we see now, right? There was no oxycodone, there were no Percocet, there were no fentanyl, there were no none of that. And came along the Buddha and he taught the way. And they became saints quite fairly quickly. Achieved nirvana quite fairly quickly. They were free from their illnesses and they were free from defilements. They were free from disturbing emotions. Free from disturbing emotions. So, I'd like everyone to reflect on this talk. And again, this talk is to raise awareness about the trip coming up. We don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. My students have seen the amount of notes that I need to review for the trip is about this thick. to say the least, as my other student is going like this. Um, Everyone is being tightened up on cognitive behavioral therapy. If you want the best out of your trip, study Cognitive Behavioral Therapy by Wilson and Branch. You need the book, I can email it to you for free. I teach for free, I don't charge any money. Fundings from this trip will go directly to my programs, all of the pre-saints that I am teaching, guiding, counseling. The journey is documented on TikTok and Instagram. So all of you who've been following me has been watching everything unfold. And I'm doing the best I can with your help. So if you'd like to donate also, remember Theravadan Buddhist monks cannot ask anything but a cup of water. And so therefore we're at the mercy of people who practice dana, generosity. And from now until proceeding on forward, I'll be actually teaching less in order to prepare for the trip, paying a lot more closer attention to the students as I wrap up my program in the States. And hopefully if the Trova trip thing works out, I like to actually travel often to go to Myanmar, to Costa Rica. There is a lot of monks around the world and a lot of monasteries to be discovered. The world is like our one big home. Too bad we have to save up to travel to these little small. So it's a challenge. It's a good financial challenge. It's a good challenge. Work hard, play hard. Work, save up, see the world. Before you die, you got to see the world. Before you die, you need to dive into nice, deep, clear water, play with the sharks. Or whatever, coral reefs, right? Look at Nemo in person. Before you die, look at the forests, the Amazon rainforests, look at the falls, look at all of these majestic places that we see on Google, or as we're sliding through our phone on Instagram. We're like, wow, I wish I was there. Make it happen. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. You still didn't. Dominic, who's here, you've seen a lot of where? Europe?
Yeah.
And where else?
Mainly Europe.
Yeah?
Yeah, pretty much all of Europe.
Open your eyes up, huh? You've lived comparable to anyone 21 years of age.
Oh yeah, definitely like change.
Yes.
Comparable. You said living comparable to anyone other.
So I like to bring these experiences to the people. I, reflected on it and I realized that it was a great thing. It's a good thing to do. Lastly, how do we change? How do I change myself? How do we change ourselves? We change ourselves by through seeing, like the age, death, decay, disease. America, it's difficult to see that first noble truth of suffering because we mask everything, right? Just look at the funeral. When the body's in the casket, it looks like sleeping. That's not real depiction of death. That is a superficiality of death. And so therefore, homelessness, yeah, we see homelessness, but we really don't have access to the really gruesome stuff that wakes us up. When you travel, you see it, not with just your eyes, but you see it with your heart. When that monastery, the temple, the white Buddha temple that you've seen, along the way of the steps, and when you go up, you will see 97-year-old women, of which their back curves like this. They could no longer lift their head up at you, and they can barely hold a hat out, begging for money to survive. That is old age, that is decay, that is disease. And when you see that, you will appreciate everything about you. The fact that you can stretch your feet, stretch your back, smile. Have your teeth? Have your teeth? Yeah. Okay, because most people don't. You start to appreciate everything, all of your senses, and just the miracles within you. That's gratefulness. Not a lot of people can just understand gratefulness. So again, it changes the way how we see things, and it just makes you happier, waking up realizing everything's working. Eating, pooping, sleep, sex, everything's working just fine, right? So enjoy it while it lasts. So anyways, like to everyone to reflect on that. I keep it very real, and I think everyone's going to get a kick out of it in person when we're traveling. Quite frankly, when the camera's not rolling, you get another side of me, which all of my students, they know when the camera's not rolling. My middle way, the middle way. But all I can tell you is, yeah, everything that I teach and how I live my life and how I will lead you all to live your life is anti-age medicine. Anti-age. Think about it, right? You know, anti-age. Aging gracefully. Every day we're aging. So why don't you all come around here and wave to everybody as we conclude this talk so they can all see your faces and tell them, hope to see you all in Vietnam. And see, that's Eric in the black, and Miss Jenna, and Ethan, and Samuel, and Dominic. Dominic, you're there. You go. That's Dominic over there. What message you guys want to say to people over the past year of studying and practicing with me? Go ahead.
What should we say? There's a lot to say. Where do we
Finish
start?
the CBT.
Yeah, CBT.
CBT is the main part.
Finish and retain the CBT.
What else? Come on, get them all excited. Don't be shy. You guys are not shy when the camera's not rolling.
We hope to meet you all, and you better believe I'm going to quiz you on the CBT.
Quick quizzes in Vietnam.
Now, you all have experienced Vietnamese food, yes?
Yes.
Oh, tell them.
Yeah, Vietnamese food is very good. Very.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
Very
How
healthy.
do I explain that?
It's healthy. It doesn't
simplistic.
make you feel like you want to take an eternal nap after you eat it.
Yeah.
Some things are a little interesting. You have to have a slightly open mind.
Oh, yeah, it opens you up to new options, you know, new things, new adventures of the food aspect. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing everyone in Vietnam. It's going to be an amazing trip. It's going to be very eye-opening experience to go through and retain.
Basically walking into another world on the same world.
Well, there you have it. These are some of the samples of reflections from students, and they're going to be saving up too. They're frantically saving up, actually. These young men and women who have been with me over the past year, and Samuel's new, Eric's coming back, coming back. Young people, right? Young lives, but at least they're coming back and they're continuing to learn and embracing this journey. And so they can't wait to meet all of you. And just along the way, even if you couldn't make the trip, they make the trip down here to St. Pete, Florida. And I'm constantly having meetings with them on camping and what else going on? We were supposed to do what today?
Kayaking,
Yeah,
paddleboarding.
paddleboarding. Always a new adventure.
Right. These are the faces that is smiling, living, growing, learning, right? And that's what I want to see with everybody across the world. Smiling, living, growing, progressing, and evolving. Don't be stagnant and stay in one spot. That's boring. You're wasting life. So, more information as we go along. And again, if you all have any questions about the Vietnam trip, feel free to shoot me an email at the number 1 Vietnamese interpreter at Gmail, the number 1 Vietnamese interpreter at Gmail. Reach out to my Instagram, Facebook, comment on the YouTube situation that's going on. But these folks got a kick out of this monastery, seeing everything here. And see you all then, okay? Until the next teachings. May you all be well, be happy, be free. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. A lot of buttons, huh?